about the digital nomad visas. One of the things I thought was really interesting is I start to see all over the world more and more countries starting to offer these where they didn't, and they're starting to cater to, digital nomads. Obviously, it's the name of the visa, but not all are created equal. Some of them are pretty terrible. Some of them seem great and easy. So, are there any digital nomad visas in Latin America that you think are worth considering?
Personally, I really don't see the point in them, digital nomad visas. I think it's better than nothing in terms of like the government innovating and offering something, but most digital nomad visas really offer little to no value because the requirements are quite annoying and they're usually not
Mhm.
any better than a traditional tourist visa. So I think maybe in the future there will be more benefits to it. It's kind of early days for digital nomad visas,
Mhm.
but I haven't, there's probably 30, 40 countries that offer them, and I haven't seen one where I said like, oh, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I
Because
don't
you
see
do all
myself
the
doing it.
do all the same headaches and paperwork and expense, and it's good for 2 years instead of permanent, or there's no path to anything more permanent. I'm with you. I
It's
think
very different. It depends on the countries. Like some of the countries will say, okay, if you have this visa, you don't owe taxes, but some of them you do still owe taxes on a digital nomad visa. Um, some countries, the presence that you get actually isn't even that much longer. Well, where they say, oh, it's only still good for like 6 months, and so you're like, okay, so I can do 3 months on a tourist visa or 6 months on a digital nomad visa, but I have to like provide them my tax returns and
hmm
all these like steps and maybe go to the consulate. So um, I don't see the value proposition in most cases. Some people have seen a value proposition like if you work for a big company, like a Fortune 500 company, and then you can get a digital nomad visa that
mm
explicitly says you will not be taxed in that country because these big Fortune 500 companies are really concerned about having their employees flying around the world and potentially exposing their company to tax liabilities. But they'll say, okay, if you have a digital nomad visa from XYZ country where we know that um, you're not exposing us to liability, then that's cool. And so I've seen
mm.
companies do that where they give their employees like a list of countries and say like, hey, you can do any country on this list, but you can't do countries that aren't on the list type of thing.
That makes sense. I hadn't thought about that. And